minute out and all the council members turn the cameras on. I'm just gonna wait on Laurel TV to count me in. Good evening. I'd like to call the 21st meeting of the Mayor and City Council on Monday, December 12th, 2022 to order. Ms. Green, please call the roll.
Councilman DeWalt,
Here.
Councilman Cole,
Here.
Councilman Sidnor,
Here.
Councilman Mitchell, President Smith,
Here.
Mayor Mo.
Here, thank you.
The next agenda item is the election of the council president. I'll now hand over the gavel to Clerk Green.
Thank you, Mr. President. The floor is now open for election of the council president. Does anyone have a motion or for a nomination?
Yes, Madam Clerk, I have a motion. I'd like to nominate Council Smith for council president.
Madam Clerk, I'll second that motion.
Okay. Councilman Sidnor,
Yes.
Councilman Cole,
Yes.
okay. Councilman DeWalt,
No.
okay. Councilman Smith,
Yes.
Mayor Mo.
I don't have a vote on this, thank you.
Okay. All right, a motion carries.
Right. And I'm gonna select I'll ask James if you'll be my pro tem again.
I'll accept.
All right. So right, next item on the agenda is the general public hearing. Madam Clerk, is there anyone signed up to speak?
Yes, Mr. President, we have 3 people signed up. The first is Jimmy Rogers. And I will go ahead and unmute him.
All right, I'm gonna open the public hearing at 6:02 p.m. And Mr. Rogers, if you're on, you have the floor. You have 3 minutes.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. Well, my name is Jimmy Rogers, and I'm a homeowner in Old Town, just down the street from the Municipal Center. Recently, I attended a rally at the Municipal Center to support rent stabilization. I went as a concerned neighbor, not as an organizer or even as a particularly well-informed person. What I expected to hear were the facts and the figures, which I'm sure you're all well aware of, but I did not expect to hear so many heartbreaking stories from longtime residents who even today are at risk of being pushed out of their homes. I was even more shocked because until a few years ago, I was a renter in Montgomery County. I rented apartments in numerous districts in that county over the course of 8 years. I received a rent price increase on numerous occasions. Each time, and mind you, this is all before the pandemic. This is all, nothing out of the ordinary. I received a letter stating that my rent would be going up about 2 to 3%, and that this number aligned with a recommendation set by the county, which was also presented to me in that letter. Additionally, if I felt my rent was going up unreasonably, there was a resource on that letter that I could reach out to in the county to adjudicate the issue. As a young professional, this established in my mind that this was the norm in our region and made renting seem like a low risk prospect. So I was shocked when I heard stories of rents increasing 20, 50, or even 100% in my new hometown with no government involvement or oversight at all. The work of ensuring affordable housing has fallen to the renters themselves through group action. It has revealed how high risk it is to be a renter in Laurel, and it will have a chilling effect on folks putting down roots here unless they can get a mortgage and buy. And renter to homeowner conversion is itself at risk when potential savings toward a down payment are now going to new higher rents. So during my homeownership journey a few years ago, I identified Laurel as my prime target because when I was searching its demographic data, it was among the most ethnically and socioeconomically diverse cities in the state. I didn't want to live in a homogenous burg where everyone looks the same and thinks the same. If you love Laurel, you probably love its diverse cultures and progressive outlook, and that diversity cannot be maintained among homeowners alone. Our renters, my neighbors, are a key constituency of this council, and I do not want to see them forced out of Old Town or even the city limits by opportunistic real estate ventures and unregulated gentrification. So I urge you today to vote in favor of significant rent stabilization measures and oversight to safeguard against a catastrophic demographic shift.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. I don't believe, did you state your address for the record?
Yep, sorry, I didn't know if you would be asking. Jimmy Rogers, and that is 303 Sandy Spring Road, and I'm in 20707.
Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
Next on our list, we have Miss Melissa Holland. Ms. Holland, if you're on, the floor is yours. Please state your name and your address for the record.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me. I'm Melissa Holland, live at 14716 Exberry Lane in Laurel 20707. I too want to give a homeowner's perspective on the rent stabilization issue. My husband and I own our house in Wellington Villages, and we've lived here since 2014. We're old, we're elderly, we are seasoned homeowners, and we have for decades owned the houses or condos where we've lived. And this includes prior residences in the District of Columbia, Arlington, Virginia, the city of Falls Church, Virginia. We currently own property in Phoenix, Arizona. We chose to move to and we choose to stay in the city of Laurel in part because of its extraordinary diversity, and that includes economic diversity. This is one of the few places I've known where lower income neighborhoods and middle income neighborhoods are so close together you can walk easily from one to another. And I take daily walks and I do a lot of volunteering with various organizations. And through all that, I get to know people who qualify for rental assistance, whose children are eligible for free school lunch. And these are people who will likely have to move away if rent increases are unconstrained. So what do we lose in that case? Well, for me personally, I lose the value of learning and growing from people whose resiliency and strength and patience I don't often encounter in a uniformly well-off community. I lose learning from and trying to absorb their sense of gratitude in daily life. I lose seeing the richness of experience and perspective that I think comes with economic diversity. And it's a richness that keeps me thinking and creating. So I would lose a lot of the things I love about Laurel. And I want to thank the mayor and city council for taking up measures for stabilizing rents, and encourage you to support those. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, Ms. Holland. Last on our list, we have Mr. Ryan Washington from Ayoba. Mr. Washington, please state your name and address for the record if you're on.
Good evening. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Just for the record, my name is Ryan Washington, and I represent Ayoba. Thank you, Council President Smith, for inviting me, members of the committee. I'll keep my comments brief and straight to the point, as you've heard me speak for the last couple of weeks now. But I'd just like to reiterate that rent control is a policy that, instead of producing or facilitating new housing development, it deters investors and lenders from financing new multifamily projects and fails to provide targeted benefits based on economic needs. Moreover, Towson University released a study 2015, and I just want to highlight this report again of the potential effects of rent control in Montgomery County. In general, the report stated that rent control policies do not achieve the goal of providing affordable housing options for residents, along with highlighting the incredibly detrimental fiscal effects. They analyzed Tacoma Park's rent control policy, concluding that the city has essentially no new planned development since its introduction, despite meager vacancy rates. College Park also had rent control for single-family rentals for a period of time. A stated goal of the policy was to reduce the number of single-family rental properties in the area. The fact that they used rent control to deter development of single-family rental properties, this shows you the devastating effects of this policy. At a time when additional housing supply is badly needed, the last thing that policymakers should consider is decentralizing new development through implementing rent control or any kind of form of rent stabilization or cap. With that, I'd just like to conclude my comments, and I'll stick around for questions. Thank you again for listening to me.
All right, thank you, Mr. Washington. Moving on to agenda item number 5, which is the report of the mayor and city council. I will start with Councilman DeWalt.
Good evening, everyone. This past weekend on Saturday, we had our annual fundraiser at Oliver's Tavern on Main Street for Lars. It's in honor of Don Hoffman. I would like to really thank Councilmember Cole and Councilmember Mitchell for attending, all the local citizens, and it was packed. Really appreciate you guys showing up there, and we had a great time, and we raised a lot of funds for Lars in doing so. I want to give you some Lars statistics. I'll go over them as quickly as I can. 1 in 5 Maryland renters are behind on their rent. Lars has distributed 4,260 bags of food. If that holds steady, and there likely will be an uptick in November and December due to the holiday programs, Lars would end up giving out about 13,000 bags of food over the course of fiscal year 2023, which verges on twice as much as they gave out in fiscal year 2022, 6,980. Lars has handled 94 rental assistance requests in the first 4 months, versus 120 in all of fiscal year 2022. If that holds steady, Lars will handle 2.5 times as many rental assistance requests in fiscal year 23 as fiscal year 22. Over the past 12 months, Lars has assisted 49 households totaling $266,721 in the city limits of Laurel, with City of Laurel ARPA money to prevent evictions and provide emergency rental mortgage assistance. Currently, every other Thursday, Laurel Elementary School, coupled with Brighter Bites out of Washington, D.C., and volunteers hand out 150 bags of fruits and vegetables to family and kids that attend Laurel Elementary School. During the pandemic, don't forget Laurel Elementary School, the city of Laurel, and volunteers handed out over 500,000 pounds of food in 6 months. Last Thursday, the mayor had his Christmas party. It was very well attended. A lot of Laurel citizens there, a lot of friends of mine, and some past council members, city administrators, and great people attended it. It was a huge success. And the interesting thing was the mayor, when he introduced some of the other previous council members, city administrators, the person that got the loudest applause from that audience was Valerie Nicholas. And I just want to, I know some people don't know her or they don't know her history, but I want to do a quick bio on Valerie as far as being a council member. In 1986, Valerie moved to this DC area from Roanoke, Virginia, with only $4.73 in her pocket. Since that time, she has completed 20 years of federal service, which includes her position as a White House appointee. In 2007, Valerie formed Love Is Not Enough, a nonprofit organization that addresses the issues of domestic violence, serves the homeless veterans, and individual and families in need of emergency services. In November of 2011, she became the first African-American female to be appointed and then elected to the city of Laurel. In the Laurel community, she still feeds the homeless daily and helps people in need of emergency services. She currently works in one of Maryland's healthcare systems. 5 years ago, when I brought out about our affordable housing in the city of Laurel and the 3 apartment complexes that participated in it, I visited each one of them, and I found out that the affordable housing in our program was not affordable at all. To prove that, just before Valerie left, so I just got muted for a second there. How about now? She went to all 3 of those apartment complexes and she came back to me and says, Carl, those are not affordable. I can't even afford them. Which is sad to hear that the bar that we set for affordable housing, a council member can't even afford to move into one of them. My suggestion, when we finally get some sort of rent stabilization bill, due to Valerie's hard work, her accomplishments, and her service to the city of Laurel, that we name that bill or ordinance the Valerie Nicholas bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman DeWalt. Councilman Cole.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. The last 4 weeks has been very busy, so I'm going to try to keep this brief. I wanted to thank everyone for the opportunity to attend the City Summit for the National League of Cities in Kansas City, Missouri. That was from the 15th to the 20th of November. While I was there, I attended the business meeting and represented Laurel as we voted on NLC's different policies for the upcoming year. On Thanksgiving Day, I participated in the turkey trot. I was not like others. I was walking in the trot, not running. December 3rd was a big day for everyone. Parks and Rec started the day very early that day, had multiple events, but I think the highlight of my day was serving breakfast with Santa. It was great to see all the smiling faces come out and get their bacon from Councilman Cole. On the 5th, I attended the tenants meeting that the mayor held. On the 8th, I also attended with Councilman DeWalt, the Brighter Bites food packing. It was a moving experience to take 50 pounds of carrots, onions, potatoes, and help separate that into the 150 bags. There were many city employees there. If you get a chance, I encourage you to volunteer. On the 9th, I was able to attend the holiday party for the employees. It was nice to go around at the beginning of the of the event and talk to everyone from the different departments, especially those that I don't interact with on a daily basis. On the 10th, I also attended that Lars fundraiser at Oliver's. And then today I was able to go to Lars and deliver a check where I helped adopt one of the families in their Holidays for Hopes program. While I was there, I talked to them. They still have 40 families in need of adoption for the holidays. So if you have a chance, feel free to make any type of donation, whether it's food, monetary, or just a children's gift to help them with their program. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Cole. Moving on to Councilman Mitchell.
Appreciate it. Thank you. So I wanted to start off with the National League of City Summit. It was a great conference in Kansas City, meeting different legislators from all over and hearing about some very, very interesting things that they're doing in their area. And also, all the different vendors that were there. It was great to hear all the different products and services that they can offer municipal government. So that was very impactful. I also was delighted to become a member of the National Black Caucus of local elected officials that has a very wide membership of local electeds all over the United States. November 7th, I went to the Prince George's County and Montgomery County municipal joint meeting they had, and they had a rent stabilization panel in which I was able to participate. They had asked me to participate with Mayor Kate Stewart and now Councilwoman Kate Stewart in Montgomery County, and then also Trent Lehrman. So it was very well received. And on the 21st, I was able to go to the VIP grand opening of Remedy Medicinal Dispensary, and I was joined by Howard County Executive Calvin Hawkins, who gave some remarks. And on November 22nd, I went to a virtual Maryland statewide rent coalition meeting with many legislators across the state of Maryland, but also several from the Prince George's area. On November 22nd, I went to the Lars fundraiser and turkey trot pickup at Jailbreak Brewery. On the 24th, I went to the Lars turkey trot run. So it was on Thanksgiving. It was a well attended, and from my understanding, they had one of their highest attendance in years, if not, ever. So that was very great. December 4th, I was joined by a lot of my council colleagues and also Prince George's council members from all over at the Southland Prince George's prefabrication tour. So it was very interesting to, learn about, what the products they make there. And, essentially that's right there in our backyard in Laurel. On December 1st, I hosted a fair housing discussion with a couple of housing experts virtually, and it was well attended by members from Cheverly, Forest Heights, Bladensburg, Greenbelt, and a few other municipalities. On the 2nd, I had the opportunity to speak to students at Martin Luther King Middle School, their AVID college readiness program. So I got to speak to 6th, 7th, and 8th graders about municipal government and, the fact that, they are constituents and, just what local and Laurel government is all about. So that was very, very cool. On the 3rd, I attended the Laurel Housing Justice Coalition meeting, and that was at the Boys and Girls Club. I was fortunate enough when I was there, they voted to change the name to the Prince George's Housing Justice Coalition because they had so many interested cities, not just Laurel now. And then I was able to attend after that the tree lighting at the Armory. So that was very well attended by the community, and I believe the entire council came out to that. So very well attended. On the 4th, or no, actually that same night, 3rd, I went to the Laurel for Patuxent holiday party at the Granville Goody Lake House, and that was a good time. On December 4th, I went to Param Shanti celebration at the UMBC Chesapeake Arena. And I was joined by Councilmember Sidnor and several distinguished elected officials. On later that night, Maryland 4th, I went to the 4th annual Maryland Leaf Holiday Party at the Overhills Mansion in Catonsville. On the 5th, I went to the new parking lot opening at 312 Main Street. Very excited about that parking lot that has some eco-friendly options and is going to provide more parking opportunities for not only the employees, but people shopping on Main Street. I briefly got to attend the mayor's meeting with renters on the 5th. It looks like it was well attended. I had to leave to go to a dear friend, Coach Irwin's Polence viewing. I just want to say that Coach Polence, he was an educator at Laurel High School, at Parkdale, and so many other schools. He was also a coach for many years at Laurel High School. So he has transitioned. And on December 6th, I was able to support a rent strike at Quincy Village in Bladensburg. And they had a similar issue, and they had the same ownership sweat partners as Westgate. On December 6th, Mount Rainier City Council also voted on rent stabilization and to move it into work session. And one of the great things is that they used the bill draft that Carl and I put forth, the Anti-Homelessness and Displacement Act. And so they are definitely getting the ball rolling. On December 8th, the holiday open house for Delegate-elect Kim Taylor. On December 8th, I also attended the holiday party at the Laurel Police Department. On December 9th, I attended the employee holiday party. I also later that day went to the PGCMA meet and greet, which was very well attended. And then as Councilmember DeWalt said, on the 10th, I went to the Dawn gift fundraiser at Oliver's Tavern. December 12th, which is today, later on, I'll be presenting at the Greenbelt City Council. They've asked to have a rent stabilization presentation. And I also wanted to highlight December 17th, which is Saturday. I'll be doing a second annual toy giveaway at the Laurel Boys and Girls Club with Marine, Toys for the Tots, and True Wellness. And later that afternoon at Grace Life Center, I will have an expungement clinic, and this will be the 4th expungement clinic that I was able to do this year. And then on Sunday, there will be a food giveaway at Carib Express. So it would be a pack up and go, kind of just drive by. And then on December 23rd, I will help host the Ugly Sweater Party at the Selborne Senior Home. And the last thing I wanted to say was I do hope that I was going to say it at the end of the last meeting, but there was a misunderstanding. So I just wanted to say that I hope that we do come to some type of consensus that's best for the residents of Laurel. But if not, I'm definitely looking forward to presenting something, even if it doesn't have the full faith of the full faith of the council. What I will say is I have one statement from a landlord from St. Paul, Minnesota. And the thought is a lot of times I didn't hear from, landlords in these respective areas. So his statement is, and I quote, his name is Eric Foster. He says, "For me as a small property renter, both rent stabilization and tenant protection stuff came down to the fact that if it doesn't affect the way I do business much at all, most small landlords aren't raising rent by huge amount each year, and they aren't doing bad things to tenants. These things curb abuses by the bad actors in the system, and those bad actors love to fearmonger about what if scenarios. But that's usually all it is. I think the key is getting small owners in the room and listening to their fears and showing them that there's nothing to worry about." Happy to talk more. And his name is Eric Foster. I'll make sure that, he presents written testimony as well as some other small landlords who were supportive of the stabilization in St. Paul prior to her passing, and still to this day. And with that, that is the conclusion of my report. Thank you.
All right, and Councilman Sidnor.
I'd like to read a statement, Mr. President, if I may. I'll take a minute to read the statement, please. Mr. President, members of the City Council, and residents of Laurel, I'm very sorry I must read this letter into the record during this holiday season. But the last Mayor City Council meeting, statements were made by Councilor Walt that can't go unanswered. On November 10th, 2022, Mayor Moore hosted a landlord and community meeting to discuss possible solutions to address affordable housing. Opportunities include rent increase. The mayor invited the City Council and senior management team as well. During the discussion, Mayor called on me for my question. I started by telling everyone in the room that I recently sold my condo. Then I asked an educational question to the landlords taking part in the discussion about the daily rate of rent. What is the formulation and calculation for determining the rate? I provided an example that on day one, you inquire about the price of an apartment and it's listed a certain amount. If you inquire on day 5 or day 10, the price could be $400 higher or $200 lower than the price on day 1. I wanted to know why the fluctuation in rent rate and determine the landlords as a purpose of the meeting to address rent increase. The variable rent calculation in such a brief time did not make sense. The question had nothing to do with my condo that had already been sold or trying to solicit a better rent from a landlord in the meeting, since I've already sold my condo and been in my rental unit for at least 4 months and signed a long-term lease. Mayor did ask that I hold my question until the other landlords had opportunity to speak. It was nothing to do with what I was asking, which was to help educate me and other council members of the City Council on how daily rents are determined by multifamily landlords. On November 14, 2022, at the Mayor City Council meeting, Councilman DeWalt used his time under the reports of the Mayor and City Council to make false statements about my actions and my character. Councilman DeWalt made statements that I solicited landlords for personal gains and questioned my integrity. I served on the council with Councilman DeWalt for almost 6 years. I've been witness to his pattern of personal attacks on council members and members of the public for not following City Council established standing rules and procedures, and insult those who have a difference with him instead of addressing them directly with the individual. Councilman DeWalt continued to slander the reputation of fellow council members for his personal satisfaction, his behavior unfitting for elected official. I retired from the United States Navy, earning 5 good conduct medals. Additionally, I retired from working in federal law enforcement with distinguished service citations. I serve and will continue to serve the citizens of Laurel proudly and incorporate my rich United States Navy core values, honor, courage, and commitment. Since I was first elected in November 2017, I have always put the citizens first by sponsoring and championing legislation and sponsoring various community events. My leadership and work with other business and nonprofit organizations are testimony of my character and the type of councilman I am. I never have nor will put myself first for the people I took oath to protect and serve. Mr. President, moving forward, I'm recommending that a council member not be allowed time at the City Council meeting to make false or defamatory statements about another council member or a citizen during their reports or other reporting meetings. We should follow the standard rules, procedures adopted by us. If a member has issues or feels something is not right, he should proceed with the Ethics Commission. Council meetings are used to conduct people's business of the city, not to launch personal attacks or make false statements and negative opinions by each other. I respectfully request this written statement be added to the minutes of records, Mr. President. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman Sidnor. Before I move on, I guess I'll go to Mayor Mo. Mayor Mo next.
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple things. The family and friends of Kathy Harvey, a former city employee here, passed away, and her husband works at Public Works, and we want to wish Kathy's family and friends all the best during this very difficult time. Also, a family and friends of Jody Camone, Jody Camone Harvey, excuse me, no relationship to the Kathy Harvey family. Jody and her son in particular played at Pilates football. And Jody was very involved in the community and in the schools. We wish her family our thoughts and prayers. Also to the friends and family of John Harrison. John was a former county police officer and a very big volunteer here in the city of Laurel. In particular, John took care of the fireworks for many years in the July 4th committee. I was saddened to hear the news on John's passing. Also to the family and friends of Robert R.L. Thompson, a local businessman here in the city of Laurel. In fact, we use R.L. Thompson Electric quite a bit here in the city. But the passing of Mr. Thompson, we wish the family our very best in our thoughts. Let me take this opportunity to congratulate our city administrator for completing and graduating from Leadership Maryland. I want to congratulate Christian and thank her. And that is as I've said before, a big deal for moving forward with Leadership Maryland. We also take the opportunity to congratulate Councilman Tom Dernoga, who was elected to the county council as the chair. I look forward to our continued relationship working with the chairman. And to Ms. Rao, who's on, we want to wish her and her family the very best. Kim's getting very, very close to retirement, the 3rd of January, and been working with Sara as she transfers her duties over to the clerk's office, and wanted to acknowledge Kim, who's on this evening. As you heard, I did attend the National League of Cities Summit. I won't go into all that we did there, but it was very beneficial as always. Also, I presented at the Laurel Elementary School a presentation, as well as others, on local government, and then the Maryland Prefabrication Shop, which is right outside of the city of Laurel. I want to thank them for the invitation to be with them. We look forward to working with them, and I think we can assist and work with them on other things of their growth, which they are looking at. I think it benefits the city as well. Did have the opportunity to stop by breakfast with Santa. Want to thank our Public Works, our Park and Rec department, as well as Councilman Cole, who were there passing out the food. And then later that day, we did have the holiday festival parade and tree lighting, and very good crowd. We want to thank them, the general public, for coming out, and for our Park and Rec crews for making it a winter wonderland over there. So it was a great opportunity for the family. So we want to thank them. Later that evening, I did get invited to the Insulators Local 24 holiday dinner, and want to thank them for the invitations. Well attended, and we have a good relationship with the Insulators Local 24 on Montgomery Street. And again, thank them for the invitation. As you heard, we did do the 312 Main Street parking lot ribbon cutting. I think if you have the opportunity to go by, you can park, but it's got a lot of green features, and I want to thank Public Works in particular for heading that up and getting that done. It took a couple, I guess about a month or so behind because of some issues, but we were able to work through those. So again, congratulations to them and to the CRA for working with us on that. We did have the tenant community meeting, which was very well attended. I thank the tenants for coming out. And then, as you heard, we had the holiday reception, and that's really for all of the volunteers and all of the former elected and appointed officials and special guests. As I said that night, we really can't do it without the volunteers, and want to thank them and city staff for making sure that the reception turned out to be a very worthwhile project, or worthwhile event for all the employees, as well as all the citizens who volunteer their time. The next day, again, we did have the employee holiday party, and again, just well attended, and want to thank everybody for attending. And as you heard, we did attend the PGCMA legislative meet and greet, and listen to the priorities of what was taken. PGCMA will be moving forward with this year. And again, as you heard me talk about Jody Kimona, I attended that funeral service. Today, we had a very good discussion with the National Wildlife Federation, trying to partner with them on some projects. Again, just very excited about some of the opportunities, and we'll keep council posted as we move forward and the general public. Today, if you hadn't heard, Prince George's County Council submitted their bill for rent stabilization. I know there'll be several mayors in particular that I've dealt with and talked to, and some council members who really want to see the county do the rent stabilization at the county level and not throughout the municipalities. So we'll be looking at that bill. It's out today and sponsored by 6 of the council members, and we'll go from there. The other thing I do want to acknowledge, I want to thank members of our religious organizations in particular who continue to talk about and do things for our community. In particular, those things have been working to disperse food to the community. There are several that continue to do that. We want to thank them, especially during this time of the year. The couple of announcements. The Wreaths Across America ceremony will be at the Laurel Municipal Center at Ivy Hill Cemetery. And on December the 26th, we will have city offices closed in observance of Christmas Day. And then city offices will be closed on New Year's Day as well. Let me also just state, I heard about Valerie Nicholas. Valerie Nicholas has been a very involved individual in this community. I met Valerie before she was a council member. But I'm glad to hear what I heard tonight. Valerie was also one that took a beating by several members of the community, as well as some of her council colleagues, with whisper campaigns, things that were just not true, and it was wrong. And to this date, I don't think some of them have apologized. So we wish Valerie all the luck, all the best. She continues to work. I talked to her the other day again about a couple of issues she's working with us on. But she's been there. She'll continue to be there. And I think she'll be there whether this bill's named after her or not. I do want to make sure that people understand she put up with a whole lot. The last thing is I just want to remind everybody to have a very Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate it with your families and friends, and have a safe and happy New Year. And that concludes my report, Mr. President. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to say happy holidays to everyone in the community and my council colleagues. Thank you for electing me president again. I do want to touch on Mr. Sidnor, Councilman Sidnor asked of. Moving forward, we will push our best professional foot forward and keep us on track. And that may have been a slight on my part for not stopping, because I was in the meeting, but I'm never gonna silence a council member from finishing their sentence. But I could have made remarks right after, so I apologize to you for that. But moving forward, I do want us all to move in harmony. I mean, we're here, we can disagree all day, but at the end of the day, we're here to get something done on behalf of the people. And we don't have to like what one other thinks or wants to do, but we should respect one another at all times. It's never an argument. And it's not personal. It's personal because this is home, but it's never personal to the point when we want to attack one another. Where I believe we're professional enough, and me being the one of the youngest on the council, along with 2 others, if I can do it, we all can do it. So I'm hoping we're going to carry that forward, that foot forward going forward, and I'm going to be sharper on that. And I want to say again, happy holidays to everyone. And there being no further business to come before the mayor and city council, this meeting is adjourned.